Wow, I don't remember this computer making this much fan noise. I guess it's time to... I guess I should be looking at this anyway. This is, wow, I don't know why this is so loud right now. Wow, I don't remember this computer making this much fan noise. I guess it's time to... I guess I should be looking at this anyway. This is, wow, I don't know why this is so loud right now. Yeah, listen to that feedback. That's why you're supposed to wear headphones, okay? Let me turn that down. All right, so let me just check some things. Who can I torture? Some nut's gonna call. That's what I need, right? Is the call-in thingy. That'd be cool. That should be enough torture. Okay, so if you oh, what in the world is that? I'll be starting in just a second here. If you want to be in, let me know. I'll just paste you a Zoom link, and I think that should work. I might be able to do Skype, but today we're going to be talking about I think the thing people are going to most want to know is we'll be talking about non-interface 8-channel mic pre's to ADATs, and I think they're all rack mounted, but you know that's not necessarily what's important about it. So yeah, if you want to come on, let me know, and just let me know in the restream chat, and then I'll find a way for you to tell me how to get a hold of you, and I'll just drop in a link. Well, I sound like one of those hype douchebags, don't I? I'm not supposed to sound like that. Okay, so welcome to Dropping In at Pipeline Audio number 80, and it's the September 6th, 2020. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna just check real quick if everything's online. Looks like we're going. So yeah, hopefully this is working. I don't know. Let me know if it's not. So first thing, I got an RE20 in, and I was, you know, I don't remember in the old days. Never really had trouble with gain. Every mic preamp we had, you know, you could crank up anything. You could have a mosquito flying around, and I don't care what mic you had, you'd turn it up, and you'd be able to get it to a decent level. Then you know how many times we've talked on this show about like cloud lifters and other mic boosting devices, and I didn't really understand the need for them until I was borrowing an SM7. And a lot of these newer mic preamps just don't have the gain to boost those guys up. But one of the things that was really talked about a lot is that somehow at the end of a mic preamp, as you turn it up, it starts getting more distorted or more noisy or whatever. Because I kept asking, you know, why would you want to use this boosting device that's it's one more amplification stage. It's probably going to add more noise than the mic preamp's adding itself, right? Sorry. I've had a lot of people tell me that that's not quite the case, and there is some claims. I think there's some substantiated claims about the end of the mic preamp's range. The when you turn it up all the way, actually does make some trouble. And let me get back to that in a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to. It's a little bit hot in here. I don't want to turn the AC on. It's too loud. What I was using was the Focusrite Octapre Dynamic, and I was trying out an RE20, and I found out that, man, even with the Singer, I really had to turn it up almost all the way. And so I gave it a try with an AMEC 9098 mic preamp, and to see which one was going to make more noise. And I do have some pictures. I don't think I have them handy, but it turned out that using the AMEC 9098 into the line input, which I think still goes through the mic pre's on this Focusrite unit, it was actually more noisy than just turning the mic up all the way. Of course, with the AMEC, I could easily turn it up to the point where it's overloading the inputs, no problem. It had plenty of gain. But in the end, it was less self-noise and didn't seem to be more distorted or anything, just to use the Octapre kind of full up blasting. So that's what I found with that. There's so many. This is yet another myth that you constantly hear, and maybe not a myth, right? There might be some truth to this, but it seems like at least in this case I could just turn it up, and it would still be nice if it had more gain. It's kind of scaring me, but seems to be okay. So I think. I don't know what to think. I'm looking at possibly buying what do you call one of these things? What do you got? Like the okay, so there's like the Cloud Lifter, there's the Triton Audio FET head. SE had one. I had the Cathedral Pipes one here for a while. I had two of them, but the guy who owned them actually sold them. I might be considering buying some of these things just for some peace of mind, and I'll see how it works. I'll actually do a test with and without, and we'll find out whether it actually just makes the problem worse or not. So that'll be coming up. But I really think that for the most part, you should feel pretty confident in just turning up your mic preamp. But I think hopefully I'll get to this in a little bit. There may be cases where that's not true. Okay. So the next thing is what I really want to talk to you about is I ended up making a little article about this because it was just easier to keep it in a table. I'm gonna turn off the Zoom video unless somebody comes on. So. So I made a roundup. If you don't know, I'm currently in the process of transitioning away from in Midas M32 with the Midas DL32 Stage Snake and Behringer Core 32 setup, which is convenient in a way because this is like networked audio. So as long as the audio appears on that DL32, I can just Ethernet it around to different X32 type devices to different rooms at the school. But there's a lot of problems with it. There's a lot of issues that it just makes it too complicated. I just want to simplify things, and so I'm switching back to I have 3 of those Focusrite Octapre Mark IIs, and I also have a Focusrite Scarlett Octapre Dynamic. So I've got 32 inputs on there. I got a snake out there that handles things for me. It's just going to be an easier time to deal with this way, except for clocking. And of course, we had shows probably many times before, where I talk about some of these devices, specifically Focusrite. The Octoprix Mark IIs, not the dynamic ones, but the other ones, have word clock in, and there's a terminator on the word clock, and so you're only supposed to terminate. Okay, if you guys know about word clock, let me know, because as far as I know, you're really only supposed to terminate word clock once, and having it terminated multiple times in the same path can be a problem. And I've talked to Focusrite about that, and there's no way to disable the termination on these particular units. So this was the Octoprix Mark II, which means that I had to go out and find some old clocks, and I'm talking word clocks from before 2000. Actually, I think is when these are made. I'm using some Aardvark ArdSync units, the ArdSync distribution amp, the ArdSync DA, and I also have an ArdSync generator that somebody was selling on Reverb, Sound Vision Studios. I'm a little sketched on using some 20-year-old devices to clock the school with, even though the other room is actually using a 1998 Mark of the Unicorn 2408. But those things still work really good. Until the thing blows up, I'm gonna be pretty happy with it. I just had to pay for some a paralegal more money than a new RME would have cost. So, if I have to get one of those things, I will. Like in here, I'm using an RME Digiface USB, 32 channels over 4 ADAT ports. So I might be switching out to there. But anyway, it's sketchy using 20-year-old devices when you're talking about digital stuff, right? These things could fry at any time, but so far so good. We'll see. but anyway, that's a problem. The word clock, that's scary to deal with. So I went out looking for what non-interface, it's not an ASIO interface, doesn't have it can't be used as an audio interface into your computer. 8-channel mic pre's with ADAT outs are there out there right now. And I have some reasons for not including the interface ones, but there's nothing wrong with using them necessarily. I'll talk about that later, hopefully. In fact, I do have some. I have some Focusrites and Motus and things that would actually work for that around here. But in this case, I just wanted to look at these. And it's kind of surprising who's got what. And because of my situation, one of the things I really wanted to see more than anything else is, how does the word clock work? Does it have terminators on them that you can't turn off? And it's funny. Emailing a lot of companies. Actually, this has come up for some years for me. So when I email companies to ask about this, some of them don't get back to you. We'll talk about hopefully. Why am I still foreshadowing? So anyway, one of the things, of course, I'm looking at is how are they going to sync? If they've got ADAT in, then you're golden. I'll find a way to get an ADAT signal to everything, and we will sync just fine. If they've got ADAT, if they got word clock in and out, as far as I can tell, they're not going to have terminators on there, or if they do, they'll be switchable when in the cases where they're cool about it. So if it's got in and out, I should be able to just daisy chain the word clock cables and put a terminator at the very end. In fact, I'm not using a terminator at the end of my Octoprix dynamic right here, and I wonder if it's going to break, or I'm using a distribution, like I said, so everything's going in parallel. So they're not going in a chain, but I wonder, should I be terminating that unit? Is it getting messed up right now? Like, is the audio messing up because I don't have a terminator on it? It's an interesting question. I'll hopefully find the answer to that. I think I bought a bunch of terminators. I should just be able to put them on. with the distribution system, I could put terminators or not without affecting each other, right? I think. I don't know. I'm still very confused on this word clock stuff. So I had a couple notes. First of all, for you guys who are asking about the Grace M108 and the Neve 1073 OPX, these are technically interfaces, and I might cover them some other time, but I'll say it again that I don't like, and I don't know that this is the case, but I don't like what seems to be interfaces added as an afterthought. Like, who makes the drivers? Can you add multiple units and still be using the ASIO driver? In some cases you could. Like if it's RME, I think you can stack devices and they'll still all show up under the same ASIO driver. I don't know if that's the case with this Neve or this Grace M108. Gain, the actual, so I tried to include, I made a table. So if you go on my website, it's one of the newer posts. It might end up kind of disappearing. Maybe I'll turn it into a page. I'm not sure. But I've got a table that shows several things. One of them was the claimed gain. Like how much gain can this mic actually make? It's like we were talking about with the Focusrite thing. With the RE20, or the SM7, how much gain do I need in order to get that up there? How much is actually available? And the claimed gain was really hard to nail down. They said it in different ways, so I'm not positive. You should double check my numbers. And any manufacturers out there, if you guys want to clear this up, some of you guys have emails into you already. Some of you I was pretty confident about, so I didn't email. But if you want to clear this up, let me know, and I'll update this chart. So even at Sound on Sound, who I usually will turn to for this kind of stuff, they seem to have different ways of stating the gain. So like I said, double check the numbers. Some word clock outs were also through ports. One, maybe more, actually had a single jack, but you could switch it between in, out, and through. And that's also the case with my ADAT card in my Midas M32. It's got a single word clock port, and it can be used as in or out, or maybe through, or in or out. So be aware of that. So in that case, you'd probably have to use a T connector, assuming that the thing's got a terminator, which we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm not 100% sure what the difference between out and through is, though I suspect out means generating word clock and through would just mirror the input. I think we'll find out. It's still a confusing subject. I own a Scarlett Octoprix Dynamic, like I said, and I'm not sure if I need to use a terminator on the output of it, as it is the last device in a chain, but it's a chain of one. I could actually send through here and put a terminator on the end of, send the word clock out to another Octoprix Mark II, which definitely has a terminator on it. I could do that, I suppose. Okay, yeah, so like I said, there's a problem with these Octoprix Mark IIs that you can't turn the terminators off. And I wrote here, kudos to Focusrite for having both in and out on the newer models of the Scarlett Octoprix. And I'm assuming that no longer having the termination issues that can lead to so much trouble. I'm assuming that this is going to fix that problem. Let's see. So the Audient ASP880 had a separate line input that seems to be after the mic pre is available on a DB25 connector. So I think a lot of the derision for these devices comes from so many of these mic pre's. The line input is actually still the mic preamp. It might be a different stage of it, or it might use less gain or something, but they mostly go through the mic preamp. I'm pretty sure that was the case for the Behringer 8000. It's probably still the case for the Behringer 8200. It's definitely the case for the Midas M32 and all the other X32 units. It looked like this Audient ASP880. It goes through, it was actually separate than the mic preamp. I think that's the wording they used. They weren't super specific, so who knows? It could be nonsense. I don't know, but that was an interesting find. And so I'm just going to go through some of these. If I So let me tell you what parameters I actually wrote down. And again, double check my stuff because I could be wrong about this. Oh, shoot. What did I just... I broke something. Sorry. 1 second. Nope, I didn't break it. Hopefully the restream... Let me just check the restream chat real quick. Oh, yeah. I'm using this RE20 right now to talk through, and so I'm well, hopefully it sounds okay. Maybe I should check that sound again, huh? Oh, and of course I forgot to record. Good job. So this is going to be... I'll be downloading this off the internet, I guess, for the output. So hopefully this is working. I guess I better double check the audio again. Oops. Yeah. See, I always forget something. This is big oops on me. Oh, and of course I forgot to record. Okay. So here's the parameters. Sorry about all this, man. I keep messing this up. I'm sorry. One of them is the claimed gain. Next is how many instrument inputs it has. I wrote it as DIs, and I know some of you guys get on me about that, but to me, they're instrument inputs, whatever. How many each one of these has. Whether or not it has ADAT input and DA, digital to analog converters. I think there was one case where it did have an ADAT input, but it didn't have a digital to analog converter. I may have to change this chart up. How many ADAT outs does it have? Now, this is important to me. Some of you guys want this so you can do like 96K. But to me, if it has two ADAT outs and they're just mirrored, I can send one to the interface in here in my control room, and I can send the other one out to the big room. So both of these, both recording setups can use the same mic preamps, the same snake that's the drums are plugged into and everything else. So I liked having the two sets of ADAT outs. Also, another parameter is line out format. Now, this was kind of a weird one. Like, I was choosing between the Scarlett Octopre Dynamic and the Claret Octopre, and it was $100 difference, which wasn't that big of a deal, especially because it doesn't have these silly compressors that I really don't want on this thing. But it had a DB25 output, which was kind of, if you guys know me, remember I used to pin those things all day long, tons and tons of them from back in the Tascam days, or man, there were so many different reasons to be pinning DB25s. They were all a nightmare. But because it had DB25, I would have had to buy more cabling and stuff, and I could probably get it cheap enough, but that was kind of the deciding factor why I went with the other one. Plus, I save $100, so whatever. So I tell whether or not it's quarter inch or DB25 or whatever. And then the next parameter is sync. What can it sync to? ADAT, word clock, AES. Some of them are MADI, Dante. And then the word clock ports. So whether it has an in and out, both ins and outs, or if you had like we say, they had the one port that switched between in or out. And then as much as I could find, and in a lot of cases I couldn't actually get this answer, what is the word clock termination? Is it switchable? Is it fixed? Or is there none? And then the price. So it's funny if you actually go by price, and let's go to the top here. So for only $8,000, you can get a Crane Song Spider. Now, it seems that this thing had 66 decibels of gain, which is quite good. But I love this with you get what you pay for, guys, because you're going to see a lot of the more money you spend, the less you get. But maybe they're going to say that these are the best mic preamps you could get, so maybe that's all worth it. So DIs, none. So, spend a couple $100 or whatever more on DIs to use this thing. No ADAT input, no digital analog converters. Had two ADAT outs. It had unbalanced XLRs for line outs. I don't get this one. That's what it seems to have. I'm sorry. It was an XLR, but it carried two channels. So to me, that means unbalanced. Sync was from word clock only, but it did have in and out word clock ports. I don't know if it had terminator for the in, but if it's going right to the out, then I suppose you can just put a terminator on there. But yeah, $8,000. RME had some really expensive stuff in here too, with even more gain allegedly. So I'm not sure about this, but in their case, they had 8 DIs, no ADAT input, 2 ADAT outs, XLR outs for the line outs, balanced ones. It could sync from AES, word clock, or MADI, which is interesting because they don't have digital to analog converters as far as I could tell. Word clock in and out, and the termination was switchable for only $4,549. Youch! Focusrite, we're getting into $3,000 something for the ISA 828 with the add-on analog to digital card. 60 decibels gain, 4 DIs, no ADAT input, no digital analog converters as far as I could tell, 2 ADAT outs, DB25 output, and you could sync it with word clock or Dante, and the word clock ports were in and out, and I'm not sure if there's termination. So those were kind of the standout high dollar ones. And then I looked at the 2 Audient units because everybody's always talking about them. One of them seems to claim 70 decibels of gain, and then the more expensive one says 60 decibels of gain. So I'm not, again, you got to double check these numbers. I'm really not sure. Both of them had 2 DI. So I'm looking at the Audient ASP 800 and the ASP 880. Neither had ADAT input or digital analog conversion. They both had 2 ADAT outs. They both had line outs on DB25s. They both could sync over word clock, and word clock was in only, but they do have switchable terminators. About $850 and $1,200 for between the 2 of them. They don't look different on my chart, but they do have different features that might be important to some people. They have like transformers or something. I don't know. The budget one that everybody's always going to be looking at is the Behringer 8200. It seemed to claim 60 decibels of gain, which is more than my Focusrites. No DIs, ADAT input, NDA. So these will actually be a digital analog converter as well, as far as I can tell. Let me double check this because the old one, the Behringer 8200 or 8000 was, you could use it. It went both ways. I'm just gonna pull up an image real quick. I want to be sure about this. I don't trust anything. Let me look at view image, see if they show. So it looks like, like on my Focusrite one, you have to choose whether or not the mic pre's are going to the line out or the ADATs are going to the line out. A lot of these had some pretty neat choices, actually. In this case, it looks like, I think it just goes to the line out from the balanced or unbalanced. Yeah, I don't really see a switch that would let you choose how it's getting out. I don't really see how you switch this. Oh, the sync selection is on the back. Okay. But yeah, it looks like it does have an ADAT in. Okay, and so in my case, this really wouldn't really work for me so well because it only has 1 ADAT out. The line outs are on XLRs. That's nice. There's a cheapie, and they still have XLR line outs. It says you can sync from ADAT or word clock. And remember, the word clock port had 1 single port, and you could choose between in or out. And I'm not sure if it has a terminator, if it's switchable or what. There's some issues for me if I were to use this thing, but geez, man, look at for the price. I think Sound on Sound said it was okay. I mean, you're not going to die because these don't sound quite as good as something else, or maybe they sound fine. I mean, when I checked the XR18, which I think has about the same type of mic preamps, they looked pretty good. It looked like the rest of the Midas stuff, a little bit noisier, but I mean, the noise is so far down there. I don't think I would worry. Maybe I'd worry with an RE20 or an SM7, though. I don't know. Now, like I said, one of the really pleasant surprises here was that the new Scarlett Octoprix has word in and out. I think that ends the problem with the termination. Like, I would love to get rid of these word clock generators because this scares the hell out of me. I got to tell you that I'm using these ancient things and I'm sending word clock all around the place and just hoping that it's working. Eesh. So yeah, I would like to. I might be looking into trading these out later on. We shall see. What else do I want to talk about on here? Yeah, the gain seemed, not so much 50 decibels on these. These were good units though. So if you absolutely need ADAT in and out, let me sort this. Okay. I want to talk about one of these things. The Art Tube Opto 8. You guys might have remembered I did some tests of some Art mic preamps a ways back, and I don't think they really turned out very good. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see, Art. Now, it really seemed goofy. Like the tests just didn't seem to work out well. Distortion and noise were okay-ish. At some levels, the mic pre's frequency response was okay. I mean, it has a really weird. Yeah, man, if you could see it, it just had a very weird frequency response. So the Art Tube, whatever thing. Hold on, sorry, this would be 1 second. It had a weird frequency response. This is the old 2-channel unit, I think. Maybe it's a 1-channel. The DI didn't turn out so good. But everything I've ever read and every test I've ever seen on the Tube Opto 8, the 8-channel version, and yeah, you guys can complain about the Starve Plate Tube. I'm sure that's valid. It seemed to be good, like good, just all around. Every spec you could name seemed okay on this thing. And this is kind of an older unit, but it has it's got 2 DIs. It's got ADAT input and digital analog conversion, as far as I could tell. It's only got 1 ADAT out. The line outs are on 1/4 inches, which is nice. You could sync over ADAT and word clock, and it had in and out word clock ports. I don't know. I don't think it has termination. I don't know if this has been updated since they first made these things, but I don't know. It's probably still a great unit. The price is just under $500, which the Focusrite Claret Optoprix is $700. The Scarlett is that I have the dynamic with the ADAT in is $600. So there was a PreSonus, the Digimax DP88 was $800. I think it's if you really need ADAT in, that might be the one you're looking at. I'd like to do some. Maybe I'll get one and do some tests on it. I'm not sure how much more testing I'm actually going to be doing. We'll see. We'll see. For maximum gain, allegedly the RME Mic's was the highest. Audient ASP 800. I don't know if I'm reading it right. The cheaper Audient seemed to have the second highest. The Behringer claimed to be in the 60 as far as I could tell. After that, there is a Midas version, XL48. Didn't seem to have too many features, and DB25s for line outputs, $900, 60 decibels a gain. My Focusrite units come right at the bottom, 50 decibels. There was a weird one. For some reason, I thought that it had ADAT ins, but it apparently doesn't. There's this Tascam Series 8P Dyna, which is very similar to the Focusrite Scarlett Octopre Dynamic. It's got some compressors on it. Has TRS and DB25 for line outs. Word clock in and out, switchable termination, 2 DIs. It's a very similar device for, I think, $100 less. Yeah. It looks like it's very similar to the Octopre. I guess to the new Scarlett Octopres actually is be comparing with, but those are $100 less than it. At first, I thought it had an analog or digital analog, so I guess not. I think that's it. Let me know if I'm missing some devices off of this chart. I'll probably be making one later that includes interfaces, and we'll see. But I just noticed that it seemed to me when I did these tests that for instance, the Focusrite, what do you call it, 18i20, which is similar to the Octopres, didn't test actually as well as the Octopres did. So I think I'll be doing these interface ones separately. Not that I think that Neve is going to test bad. Who knows. For the next thing here, let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. So here was we harp about routing every single time, right? And here we go again. This is another one where I had to talk about. I had somebody in who needed to sing over Zoom, had to have some backing tracks playing, and the guests who were on Zoom had to hear her. I had to hear everything, so I had to do the zooming. It wasn't actually Zoom, it was WebEx, but same kind of thing. And so here's this complicated diagram of how I'm making it work. So basically the singer needed to hear her mic, the talkback mic of me from the control room talking to her, the backing track, that's the song she was singing over, and the WebEx or Zoom guest who was actually in charge of this thing. I needed to hear the Zoom guest, the singer's mic, and the backing track. And then the Zoom guest needed to hear the singer and the backing track. Didn't necessarily need to hear me in this case. And so the way I did this, let's see. So from Reaper, I had a talkback mic input. Oh man, I actually drew this wrong. Yeah, what am I doing? I'm doing this wrong. Actually, I have to fix this later. Anyway, I had a talkback mic input in Reaper, and that one went out to output 3 and 4, which output 3 and 4 went out to the PA speakers. So the talkback mic could hear the PA speakers. The singer also went out to output 3 and 4. So again, the singer can hear herself on the PA speakers. The backing music went out to output 3 and 4 as well to the PA speakers. Now the WebEx output goes to, and you see I messed this up. The WebEx output was also going to the PA system. Now I had a couple things going to reroute, and reroute is going into the OBS. OBS open broadcast software has an ASIO in, and that's listening to reroute. Now my talkback mic wasn't going to reroute. The singer's output was going to reroute. The backing track was going to reroute, and I'm going to get to that in a second. The main output, which is going to the control room, was not listening to me, my control room mic. Was listening to the singer and to the backing track, and to the WebEx, the Zoom thing. That's what's going to the control room is the main out. And the tricky part is OBS. Now OBS has a monitor output. OBS doesn't really have an audio output except for the monitor output, but you can tell it whether or not to monitor a signal or output a signal, or both, or neither. And so in OBS, I set the mic input from the singer to monitor and output. I set the ASIO, the reroute 1 and 2 that we just talked about, to go to monitor and output. And then the WebEx, the zoom in, goes only to output. So that way, you could hear it over the stream if you're using it, like I'm doing it right now, actually. But it wasn't getting monitored. Now the WebEx, or zoom in, is getting its signal from OBS monitor out. And the only way I could do that was to use the loopback in RME Total Mix. Now, this is another issue that we'll talk about later. It may have been possible that I could do this with the virtual audio cable or whatever. I'd rather not. We'll be dealing with that later. The output of Zoom and WebEx, one went to Reaper, so that we could control it that way, and the other one went to the PA speakers. And that was a little sketchy, and that was done again through RME's Total Mix 31 and 32 loopback. So this is still a nightmare to handle these kind of things. Anyway, so that's how that works. I think the only last thing I have is a picture I got when I popped up a restream. It says Google will continue to support streams only with YouTube events. YouTube Stream Now will no longer be available by the end of this month. Please check out our articles to set up YouTube events. Okay, I'm scared. So can you guys help me set up YouTube events? Because I think I used to try and use that, and I can't figure out how to make it work now. Anybody who knows YouTube events, let me know. But I think that's it for today, for this week. And I know I'm a day late, so sue me. All right, thank you guys for listening.